First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Welcome back to First Things First. We're now joined by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings, who when he was younger always went by Greg GJ. GJ, is that? No, didn't?
No.
What's wrong?
Let's just keep on rolling.
I just thought you guys athletes
Why would it be funny to America?
Dallas Cowboys got a big win over the Chiefs this past weekend.
I know you got a couple friends watching.
Hey.
they chuckle, but the rest of us are like, stop.
It was the third straight win for a Dallas team who improved to 5-3 on the year, and it seems more and more likely that Ezekiel Elliott will play the entire season. Greg, did dominating the Chiefs prove the Cowboys are among the NFL's best teams? Was that the game that really sort of solidified it for a lot of people and yourself as well?
I wouldn't say it solidified. I think that the Cowboys, without even having that win, was a contender, was a good team, and they had the makings of a great team. It was just about finding their way, finding themselves. And I think once they went into their bye week, after losing to Green Bay, after they came out of that bye week and they went to San Francisco and they put that whooping on San Francisco.
Great matchup coming off the bye.
Absolutely. What we found was, in this league, you say, oh, well, they only beat the 49ers or they only beat this team, but they're winning the games that they should win.
No, but Greg, before the Chiefs, they beat the Cardinals, the Giants, an injury-plagued Redskins team, and the 49ers.
Absolutely.
Now, I agree with you. You can put up a lot of points. They're beating the teams they should win. But two of those teams, no wins, one win. I mean, they're really tough teams.
But I can argue this. Had they lost to any of those teams, then we would say, okay, something's wrong with the Cowboys. But they didn't. They won the games that they should win. And at the end of the season, when you tally up your wins and your losses, those wins matter because if you have let some slip away, which every team does. Every team does. And this Kansas City win, it was a big win for them. But I feel like they're a very balanced team. They're coached well. They understand who they are. They have an identity. And it was a matter of that offensive line gelling, them getting the ball, getting Ezekiel Elliott rolling in that running game and becoming that balanced attack that we saw last year.
Yeah, the biggest word Greg said is identity. And the reason why we watch the games with a different eye as the season starts is because we want the teams that we watch to be, if they were good, the teams from the last season. So when we watch in September, we're like, okay, now where are the Dallas Cowboys from 2016? Okay, now where are they? Okay, they're not here yet. Okay, they're not as good as they were last year. Well, now they have an identity. I think after the loss to Green Bay, they reanalyzed themselves and said, what are we going to be? We have to be a physical football team. So not only looking at who they play, it was a very good win against Kansas City, but it's how you play. All right? Their style points, or they're getting closer to their identity. So you have to give a team more style points when they play the type of football that you're used to them playing. We do it for New England. We do it for Green Bay when they have Aaron Rodgers. So you have to look at the game and say, okay, what is the identity? Are they getting close to their identity? And we see that with the Cowboys. The Cowboys also had a lot of unknown commodities on their defense. Those commodities are starting to be proven commodities. They have two pass rushers. I mean, Lawrence, you have to start double teaming him. So they're going to get some free runners into the backfield as the season progresses. You know, the rookies, towards the end of the season, what we tell them, hey, you ain't no rookie no more. So their secondary should get better with those corners getting all that experience. And if that offensive line can continue to dominate, to make that defense play 25 to 28 minutes, they will continue to improve. Nick?
You know how I know the Cowboys have solidified themselves amongst the NFC's best? You know how I know the Cowboys have gotten better? Chris Carter's demeanor when discussing the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to reveal something to the audience. Cowboys, you see television ratings. They do best of everyone, no matter what network they're on. We're lucky on Fox. We get a lot of their games. The Cowboys are America's team for a reason. That people like watching the Cowboys. People like discussing the Cowboys. So even when the Cowboys aren't great, television shows like ours talk about them a lot. And when this team at the beginning of the year was not looking like last year's team, when it was struggling, my man CC was not that interested in this team. But now all of a sudden, this team's relevant. This team is relevant not just because they have big, flashy stars, because they're playing good football. This team's put together a month of football.
Stop right there. You said good football. Your partner, CC, I'm a fan of good football.
No doubt about it.
All right? Like, I think we all are a fan of the product is better.
100%.
To me, I just hate when people distort the product and try to make it seem as if, listen, there is no carryover. Ask the Falcons, ask the Cowboys, ask the Packers, ask New England. There is no carryover from the other season.
So now we have a big enough sample of the season to say it about the Cowboys. Here's what we know. They've had one bad football game. The game against the Broncos. That's it. Every other game this year, they have either won or they had a double-digit lead in at some point and then lost it. The Cowboys have been up 10 in every game they've played this year, at least 10, except for that Broncos game. To CeCe's point about style points, they don't have any. All their wins are blowout wins. So they have 5 wins by multiple scores. Their 2 losses, they blew big leads, and then the one very bad game against Denver. And lastly, to your point about time of possession, last month, man, they sure seem like they're getting back to it. Last 4 games, averaging a 33-minute time of possession. League high in the season for the year is 33.5 with Philly. Like, they are looking a lot like the team that made them dominant last season.
Yeah, and what made them dominant was the confidence that they had in that offensive line, in that running game. Last year, we would hear Ezekiel Elliott say, teams know we're going to run the ball because that's who we are, and they have to stop us. We didn't really hear that this year until now. Now you see them understanding, look, this is who we are. And if you stand toe-to-toe with us, we're going to punch you in the mouth running the football, and you better be able to take it.
Of course, it's easier to say that now because they're probably going to have Zeke for the rest of the season. But could they have said that if
I
they
was
didn't?
getting ready to say that. I'm sorry you said that.
I'm
but
sorry.
The thing that we don't talk about in Dallas is injuries. All right? They haven't had any really injuries. But that suspension, it's just like an injury. All right? It's coming. Like, we know the players are going to get injured. That suspension is coming.
But, CeCe, let me ask you a question about the suspension, because you've been so adamant about this, and you were the first one to report that it was going to happen months ago. Are you certain still that it's coming this year? Because I'm no longer certain it's coming this year. Last week made me question. I'm certain he's sitting 6 games.
We can't even have the discussion, are we certain? Is he going to get suspended this year? All right? It's just like Tom Brady. All right? It will get resolved, and he will sit. Now, when that is, that's way outside my pay grade. Judges and all types of ruling, all that is going to take. None of us know that. So there's no need to try to be on the right side of that one. But I do know that ruling, it won't change. Just like StarCaps got resolved, just like Spygate got resolved, just like all the other investigations, they got resolved over time.
But is it possible that it could happen next season? That's a possibility.
What difference does it make to me?
Well, it makes a big difference to the Cowboys this season.
Well, that ain't my job to be worried about the Cowboys.
Well, no, we're talking about the Cowboys, even though I'd love to talk about what you think.
Jenna, no one knows that. No one knows when it's going to happen.
Right, but there is a possibility that it could happen next year.
Right, that's what he said. Which is,
yeah, I agree. No, I'm agreeing with you.
A departure from where we were. I was certain that this last ruling, it was over. I'm no longer like that. It was going to be these 6 games, weeks 9.
There's nothing that's been presented to say he would play the rest of the season, though. Okay. Right? Even though he played last week, there's nothing out there like he's going to play the rest of the year. Right. Tom Brady, we knew his suspension would go into the offseason, which was basically almost like a year and a half past when he was accused.
All right, time now for Nick's Fantasy Update, sponsored by DraftKings. Play free for more than $1 million in prizes. Nick, who is the quarterback that you've got your eye on this week?
That man you're seeing right there, Jared Goff. And I like Jared Goff typically, but
is he the most improved in the NFL?
Oh, that's a separate question. He is the most improved in the NFL. Jared Goff this week, why do I like him? Because he is playing the woebegone Houston Texans. They know their season's over. They know, listen, the defense knows that they're going to have to hold the Rams to 7 points in order to win that game when you got touchdown Tommy Savage as your quarterback. So Jared Goff against a beleaguered Texans defense, that's my guy. That's my DraftKings pick.
All right, at DraftKings.com, the leader in 1 week fantasy